Here are the keys to hitting a perfect backhand slice dink. A backhand slice dink is one of the most important weapons that you can have in your arsenal. It's going to get you out of a lot of trouble, and it's going to allow you to keep the ball nice and low so that your opponent can't speed it up out of the air or off the bounce. The first thing to keep in mind when we're hitting a backhand slice dink is that the slice, so the backspin, doesn't come from me taking a big cut at the ball. This is where most players go wrong when it comes to hitting a backhand slice. They think that in order to get the backspin, they have to create this big U-shaped motion with the paddle. And when I do that, the ball is probably going to sail long. So instead, I want to recognize that the spin comes from my paddle angle being back, so my face is open, and my swing coming straight through the ball. When I swing with my paddle face open in a straight line, the ball is going to hit and then roll up the back of it, and that's how I'm going to be able to create some backspin. If I try to swing at it and cut with this big U shape, I'm just going to end up popping the ball up. This swing right here is going to give me all the spin that I need for my dink to be successful and to get my desired effect. Anything more than that is just going to be too much, and the risk reward just isn't there. So notice how on these backhand slice dinks, I'm swinging from straight behind the ball with an open paddle face. And I'm still getting the backspin, even though I'm not taking a big cut at it. Now, if I start to cut it, that's when the ball is going to pop up. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping everything perfectly out in front. I'm cocking my wrist back, and I'm swinging in a nice straight line from behind the ball straight through to my target. The next thing I want to keep in mind is that I'm keeping my arm perfectly straight, so I'm not going to bend my elbow. If I bend my elbow, that's going to cause me to cut it. I'm going to chop at the ball when I have this bend. That's just going to happen naturally. And if I do keep this bend and I don't cut it, then it's going to be a really awkward swing and I'm not getting a lot of power on it. So the best swing is going to be with that straight arm from my shoulder down to my wrist. And I'm going to swing just by moving my shoulder up. So the whole swing here comes from my shoulder. I'm not bending and chopping. That's going to lead to a ton of errors. I see it all the time when amateurs are hitting their backhand slice dinks. They're looking to chop at it. It leads to pop-ups, mishits, and it's overall just not going to give you a lot of success. So keep that elbow straight, paddle up, and you're going to find that you're going to have a ton more success with that backhand slice. And then finally, once you have that arm positioning down and the paddle position down, we want to make sure that we're cocking our wrist back. So in order to get that paddle positioned up, I want my arm to be straight and then my wrist to come up. So that way I can get under the ball and I can swing straight through. So my wrist is going to be bent back, so that way my paddle can face right towards my target. If I don't bend my wrist back, my paddle's going to be facing straight ahead, and I have to swing sideways across the ball like this. But if I get my paddle facing towards my target by cocking that wrist back, I can come with a straight arm from right behind the ball, and I can get that swing to go all the way out towards my target while keeping that backspin. If I wanted to hit a flat dink, maybe I wouldn't look to cock my wrist. I technically could hit a basic flat dink this way, but there's no way for me to get any backspin from this position without missing it in the bottom of the net. So I have to make sure that I'm getting under the ball by cocking my wrist and then swinging through it across to create that backspin.